Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria Montefusco and I am a lover of all things when it comes to makeup. Today I'm going to be ranking all of the Pat McGrath palettes that I own. So I own a total of 9 Pat McGrath palettes. I own 7 of the Mothership palettes. I own 1 of the Blitz Astral quads, and I also own 1 sort of special Pat McGrath palette. We'll get into that when we do. So there are a total of 8 Pat McGrath Mothership palettes. The one I don't own is Mothership for Decadence. I'll pop a picture somewhere on the screen. That's the one that was originally released as limited edition for Star Wars, like a Star Wars collaboration. I didn't end up buying it just because there's no special formula / Blitz Astral shades in there, so I didn't think it was worth it. So if you want to see me rank all my Pat McGrath palettes, hear my thoughts, maybe see some swatches, please keep on watching. So at number 9, I am going to rank the sort of palette that falls into like that miscellaneous Pat McGrath category. It's neither a Mothership palette nor a quad, and this is the Mothership Mega Celestial Divinity. So this palette came out for holiday this year. I believe it's not available anymore, so I'm sorry if you all want this palette after I show it to you. But this is what it looks like. This palette does not have any Blitz Astral shades, but it does have 3 mattes that are more like rosy toned, browny toned, and it also has a whole bunch of metallics in here. So Pat McGrath's metallic formula is really, really great. This was a very comparably budget-friendly way to try Pat McGrath's formulas because the Mothership palettes run for like 125 bucks. So this was a lot cheaper in comparison, but of course you're not able to try the Blitz Astral shades. I do love the matte formula and the metallic formula from Pat McGrath, but I'm willing to spend the coin on Pat McGrath palettes because of the special shades, because of the Blitz Astral shades. So because this one doesn't have any of those, this is why it's my least favorite Pat McGrath palette, but I still do love this palette and I use it all the time and it's really great. So this is a good palette, but it's ranked last. The palette at number 8 is this palette. So this is the Mothership 3 Subversive palette. So I recently got this one on sale. Pat McGrath was having a 25% off sale on their website, so I snatched this baby up for 3/4 of the price. So it was a pretty good deal. So of course we have this classic black lacquer packaging, and you open it up and this is what it looks like. So I do like this palette a lot. Like looking at these Blitz Astral shades, I think they're really beautiful, but I think this, out of all of the Pat McGrath palettes that I own, is the least cohesive in regards to color story. Like we have only 2 mattes, a dark brown and a dark black. We have like 4 metallics that are a bit more like on the satiny side, and then we have the 4 Blitz Astral shades, which is like an acid green, like a purple to blue, like a white to pink, and like a gold to pink. So I like the colors in here individually, but I'm not sure if they're the most cohesive together, if that makes sense. So this is why it's ranked number 8. I will swatch the Blitz Astral shades for you. So this is what the Blitz Astral shades look like on my fingers. This like white shade is a bit more chunky in texture, which I find is the case for Pat McGrath's like earlier palettes. That lightest shade that's supposed to be like your inner corner pop, brow bone pop. It's a bit on the chunkier side, and then all the other shades are that nice, smooth, classic Blitz Astral formula. So this is the least cohesive to me in regards to color story, so that's why it's ranked where it's ranked. So at number 7, we have this Blitz Astral quad. This is in the shade Nocturnal Nirvana. This came out for Christmas 2019, I believe, holiday 2019. So it's that same classic black lacquer packaging, but of course it's a lot smaller. It's in a quad. So this is what it looks like. We just have 4 beautiful like jewel tone shades. We have like an orangey gold, an aqua blue, this like green to purple, and this really dark purple. So I love this palette because it is literally just 4 special Pat McGrath shades, and they swatch beautifully. They look beautifully on the eyes. It's stunning. I love all my Pat McGrath palettes, but this one is ranked a little bit lower on the list because it is a quad and there's no mattes or satins or anything to anchor the look. So this is really a palette of pops. This is a palette that you use with other palettes as a companion palette. This is not a standalone palette, at least not in my opinion. So that's why it's ranked number 7. But as you can see from the swatches on my fingers, these shades are beautiful. They look beautiful on the lid. They wear beautifully with a glitter glue. I just love this formula, so that's why I got this quad in the first place. Palette number 6 is actually the palette I'm wearing on my eyes today. And this is the first Mothership palette, the one that started it all. This is Mothership 1 Sublime. So this palette, I say, has a lot more of a cooler toned color story, as you'll see when I get it out of that pesky outer packaging. So this is what the color story looks like. So you have 3 like cooler toned mattes, a mid-tone brown, or a lighter brown, a mid-tone brown, a dark brown, well, brownish black, I would say. You have 3 like metallics slash like satiny shades, and then you have the 4 Blitz Astral shades. This palette is just so beautiful. I love it. I'm wearing it today. It just wears beautifully on the lids. Again, I will swatch the 4 shades, Blitz Astral shades, on my finger. And there is what it looks like. So today I'm wearing every Blitz Astral shade except for that darkest like sapphire blue. So this is again that classic Pat McGrath formula. Like in the older palettes, I feel like this white to blue duochrome is a bit on the more like textured, rougher side instead of that smoother Blitz Astral formula that I personally like, but it's still a great shade. I'm wearing it in my inner corners and brow bone. I like it. So I love this palette. The reason why it's ranked where it's ranked is because I appreciate cool tones, but cool tones aren't normally what I go for. It isn't normally what I gravitate towards. So that's why this palette is a bit lower in the rankings. Of course, I love it. I'm going to say that for every single palette, but it's just not exactly what I go for. But I am glad I have it in my collection because for a while I didn't really have any cool tones. So this was a really good add to my collection. I missed one. We're going to do this a bit out of order. So this is number 5. This is Mothership 2 Sublime. Can't believe I forgot one. So anyways, this is what the palette looks like. And opening it up, this one looks like this. So as you can see, there's a pattern with Pat McGrath Mothership palettes. They always have a gold, and sometimes they really have a copper. Like, she loves her gold, she loves her coppers. So this palette, I will swatch the Blitz Astral shades as I have been doing. So this is what the Blitz Astral shades look like. There's a good selection of mattes in here, even though there's only 2. There's a darker brown and a darker black. We have a good selection. There's more like shimmery satin shades, and I do like the Blitz Astral shades. That green to purple is a little bit, I don't know, dark for what I prefer. And again, this shade right here is a little bit chunkier and like drier and not as smooth in texture. But it is really pretty. It's just, this palette isn't really unique enough to be ranked higher than this because, I don't know. There's no like mid-toned matte in here. I wish there's another mid-toned matte. And I'm just tired of seeing golds in all Pat McGrath palettes, to be completely honest. So I wish there wasn't a gold, I wish there wasn't a copper. Maybe like a lighter green, something interesting like that. I would have loved to see this as like a white to green iridescent kind of shade. So there are a few things I would change in here. I still think it's a nice palette. I still think it's well-rounded, can create a really pretty look, but it's not my favorite color story-wise. So palette number 4, we have Mothership 7 Divine Rose. I love this outer packaging. It's just so beautiful. And opening it up, you will see why it is called Divine Rose. I mean, this is a very, very neutral, rosy toned palette. So here's what it looks like. I also got this during the recent 25% off sale. So thank you for that, patmcgrath.com. And this palette is Divine Rose 2s.
Divine Rose 2s. Divine Roses 2s? Divine Roses 2?
I don't know. It's that palette's older, more mature, a bit more boring, sorry if that's insulting, sister. So this is great if you like work in an office or something. Like those two mattes are very versatile. These shimmer slash satiny shades are really great and really anchor a look as well. And the Blitz Astral shades are just divine. So let me, oh, pun not intended, haha. So let me swatch them. So this is what they look like. You have this shade in the bottom left corner for me. It's right here. This is just a beautiful wet looking topper shade, inner corner shade, brow bone shade. I absolutely love it. This shade on my middle finger, that is the shade above that. So that's just a beautiful, I don't even know how to explain this, like an iridescent pinky orange. It's really nice. And then we have, of course, your classic like peach to gold, and then we have a gold on my pinky finger. So this palette's beautiful. It's very natural, very rosy toned. This is ranked in the middle because I like natural rosy tones. Sometimes I'm not in the mood for like blue, green, orange, red, pink, purple, whatever, like bright colors on my eye. So this is good on a day that I'm feeling a bit more natural in my eyes, or on a day that I just want my eyes to be really natural, or I want my lips to pop. I mean, this is a great palette for that too. So this palette does serve a purpose, but most days I'm feeling a bit more of a fun, dramatic eye than this. So I love it. It has its purpose. It's great. It's really beautiful in the eyes, but I have some more fun palettes ranked a bit higher. At number 3, we have Divine Rose 1's younger sister, Divine Rose 2. So as you can see, I do not have the outer packaging for this. I've explained this many a time. UPS totally tossed around my package, and when it arrived, the outer packaging was crumpled, so I only have this in the black lacquer. Sorry. And I also don't have this in the limited edition packaging, which I wish I did, but I wasn't gonna like buy a whole new Divine Rose 2 palette just for like the pink chrome packaging. I feel like that would be kind of dumb on my part. So I ended up keeping this one. But anyway, in case you're not familiar, this is what it looks like. I feel like this palette is special for a few reasons in my collection. 1, this was the first Pat McGrath palette I have ever tried. 2, my boyfriend gifted this to me last year for my birthday. And 3, because it has a multi-chrome in it, which was a huge deal. So I'm gonna swatch all of these shades on my fingers, all the Blitz Astral shades. So this is what the shades look like. This shade is just, I love that shade for the inner corner, the shade on my pointer finger. We have the multi-chrome on my middle finger. This is very much like a pink to green to like yellowy gold kind of a shift. It's stunning, but I will say compared to like indie multi-chromes, for example, it is a bit more softer, less metallic, less sparkly, but it's like a wearable, more wearable multi-chrome. And then of course we have like a copper and a gold. This palette is beautiful. This is probably my most used Pat McGrath palette just because I've had it the longest by far. I adore this. This is what got me into trying multi-chromes. I mean, it is just absolutely beautiful. So I really love it. It's not the top palette, but I really love it. It is really beautiful. And I would just say, again, there's color stories I like a little bit better than this. So I do love this palette though, and it is special to me for the reasons I already stated. Top 2. So this is another palette I also got the 25% off sale. And the first time I put this on my eyes, I was blown away with how much I love this. So this is the Mothership 5 Bronze Seduction. I feel like this is everybody's like favorite Pat McGrath palette. I feel like it's the most popular one. I feel like this was the palette that I saw everybody talking about a few years ago, and I was like, dang, maybe I should try Pat McGrath. So if you're not familiar, this is what it looks like. This palette is just beautiful. Those mattes, I love that they threw a purple matte in here. It just makes it so interesting. These Blitz Astral shades might be the best selection that I have ever seen. I mean, look at these. This shade right here has like a green flip to it, like a greenish gold flip to it. Beautiful for the inner corner. That red metallic, it is so hard to make a red metallic that is like legitimately good and metallic and pigmented and doesn't just look like a satin. This one does it. And then this like coppery rose gold shade, just stunning. And then we have this shade here, which has like a translucent base, and I would say flips from like green to pink with like a more like tannish translucent base. This palette is beautiful. I love this on my eyes. I've worn this a few times already. It is stunning, it is beautiful. Even though I haven't had it for that long at all, I just got this in the mail like a few weeks ago. This has won my heart over. So this is number 2, it is awesome. And my favorite Pat McGrath palette, if you've seen a lot of my videos, you know which one this is. I've talked about it being my favorite before. It's this one. So this is the Mothership 6 Midnight Sun. I love how the outside packaging looks on this one. I feel like it matches the inside really, really well. This palette inspires me to be creative. That pop of purple in there, I would have never thought to pair a purple with an orange copper, with a light yellow gold, and with this like champagne glittery shade. I would have never thought to do that. The mattes are great. You have a lighter matte, a mid-tone matte, a darker matte. The satins go well, especially this green satin right here. Again, not something I would have thought of, but it's beautiful. This color story just is awesome. I love it. So this is what the Blitz Astral shades look like. This is probably my second most worn Pat McGrath palette, just because, yes, I've had this not as long as the Divine Rose 2, but I am reaching for this one probably more after the Divine Rose 2 since I've received it. So this palette inspires me. These Blitz Astral shades blow my flippin' mind. I love, love, love this palette. This is by far my favorite Pat McGrath palette. So that is a ranking of all 9 of my Pat McGrath palettes. I love them all, as you could see from my rankings and talking about them. But of course, in order to do this video, I had to choose favorites. So my number 1 favorite was, of course, that palette with the purple and the copper and all that beautiful stuff. But I do love all these palettes so much. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see other ranking videos from me or any other things you'd like to see on my channel, please let me know down in the comments below. If you liked this video, please hit that like button on this video. It helps out with the ever-changing and evolving YouTube algorithm. If you like me, please subscribe. Would love to have you all here. I post videos 3 times a week. And with that, thank you for spending a little part of your day with me talking about luxury beauty and Pat McGrath makeup. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye.